Checking audio for the live streams. Thanks. Hi, Councilor Braithwaite. I'm just wondering if you can hear me all right. Thanks.
It'll turn red like that.
Sorry, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hey, Councilor Braithwaite, your audio's a little quiet. Thanks. I was able to hear you, though.
Okay, is this better?
Could you try again? Sorry?
Is this better?
Yeah, I think so. It's just a little loud in the room, but yeah, thank you so much. I can hear you perfect. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah.
Counselor Braithwaite, can you hear us?
This is just a final audio check for the online stream. Thanks.
Thanks, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hi, Councillor Appleton. I was just wondering if you can hear me fine. Thanks.
Yeah, can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for checking.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for coming. This is our Committee of the Whole, regularly scheduled, but at an unusual time of 6 o'clock, as we have a council meeting following this Committee of the Whole. As we start a meeting, we'd just like to acknowledge that the lands on which we gather and do our business is the traditional territories of the Coast and Strait Salish people. And specifically, we acknowledge the Lekwungen-speaking people known as today as the Songhees and Kasapsum, or Esquimalt nations, and their historic connections to these lands and these waters continue to this day. But before we go on to business, just want to just recognize we have with us here tonight the Chief of the Kasapsum Nation, Chief Jerome Thomas, who's joining us in chambers in here. And so I just want to thank him for being here, but also we were going back and forth on what the appropriate protocol was. We've never had a chief here in this role again on an agenda item to boot. So what we came up with was that I would invite Chief Thomas to provide a welcome on behalf of Kasapsum Nation. And so, or anything else you want to do, sir. But if you don't mind, you can just speak, I think, or if you want to speak into the microphone, you're welcome to. Can you turn that one on?
I'd just like to thank you for the invitation here, inviting me to this municipality hall.
Thank you, Chief Thomas, for starting us in a good way. Our first order of official business is approval of the agenda. I just wanted to suggest that we amend this. There is a public comment and question period at this meeting and not at the council meeting. There is an opportunity. We only have one item on the agenda tonight for this portion, which is the item on the agenda. So my suggestion is that we amend the agenda and move that public participation, which is the general, not for the item on the agenda, but for things not on the agenda to the next meeting where we have less time pressures. Is that acceptable? So can I have a mover and seconder of the agenda as amended? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed. I was just going to ask if the two councillors joining us remotely, Councillor Braithwaite and Councillor Appleton, could hear me well enough, but since you both voted, I can tell that you can. So welcome online, and thank you for joining us, even though you can't be here in person. We move then to item 3, which is adoption of the Committee of the Whole minutes from April 20th. Can I have a mover and seconder? Any changes, corrections, or amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Not opposed. We have mayor and council verbal reports. Since I have an opportunity at the next meeting, I'll reserve my remarks. This is just a brief opportunity for council to update each other and the public about items that may be of interest to other members of council and activities that have gone on in their duties as a councillor. I'll start over here with Councillor Smart.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. It has been a really great month, and with some of the busy part of the year wrapping up and everyone getting excited about the summer, I've had a lot more residents reach out for coffees, and I just want to thank you for reaching out, and I've really enjoyed a lot of our community conversations that we've had the last few weeks. I suppose I'll just share a couple highlights from the last month for me. One, of course, was attending the 25 anniversary party at the Penny Farthing that we all attended. That was really great. And I also attended a 3-day Climate Leaders Jam session put on by the Community Energy Association. And I just wanted to share that they have some amazing resources now on their website, and that's communityenergy.ca. And they've got a whole section under tools and Power to Act that shares regional initiatives and legal opinions regarding climate action. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smart. Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, it has been quite a busy month this last couple of months. June 2nd, I attended the Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice Committee reception. The event provides an opportunity for committee members, resource agencies, police, and government representatives to gather informally and talk about what is happening in the region. This year also, the Youth Empowerment Society joined us to introduce a few of their new youth counselors. They now have 80 youth counselors servicing the region, and of course with Foundry's expansion to the West Shore, Youth Empowerment and Foundry support each other in assisting and supporting youth experiencing difficulties with housing, addictions, education, and just general life skills. So it's always nice to be able to just do that in a more casual setting. June 6th and 7th, I was at the tea party, and I joined an enthusiastic volunteer group of waste recycling people at the event. I have found that is a good way to avoid eating any of the food at the event if you're picking up all of the garbage. But I was beside the firefighters' pancake breakfast, and they tell me they went through 800 sausages and about 30 pounds of pancake mix. So it was very busy, and I think I got to chat to everybody in the community that attended the breakfast, and it was very, very busy. And of course, there was the night market, our first night market on June the 10th, where we once again saw all members of the community. And June 11th, I participated with others remotely in the discussion group on proposed changes to the Heritage Conservation Act. And so that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Councillor Patterson. I'll stay in the room here for the next two, and then I'll go online. Councillor Green, and then Watson.
Thank you very much. The month started on June 1st when I chaired the South Island Reconciliation Committee meeting, and again I chaired today I chaired the same meeting, June 15th, and these meetings occur in Souk, and I'm pleased that our Chief Administrative Officer accompanies me to these meetings, so I'm very grateful for that. On June 3rd, I attended the Heritage Commission meeting. the regular meeting as council liaison. On June 6th, the Oak Bay Tea Party, but I didn't participate in garbage collection, and I apologize. And then on June the 11th, I attended the Oak Bay Tourism Committee meeting as the council liaison, and also a farewell to Madone Palin, who was our past chair, was also the former GM of the Oak Bay Beach Hotel, and she provided tremendous leadership to the committee, I think beginning in 2020. And correct me if I'm wrong about that. I know Jeff, one of our members, is in the audience. I think she began her leadership in 2020. So Madone has taken a new position with the Fairmont Hotel in Edmonton. So I have a reason now to visit Edmonton. I've only been to the airport, never to the city. And finally, I joined my colleagues in attending a memorial service this past Saturday to honor the life and work of the late Lillian Spock, councillor of Langford. Lillian had been elected, I believe in 2002, and had been an ongoing councillor for that period of time in her community. She was very devoted both to her community, to cycling, to active transportation, to the environment, but also to uplifting young women in leadership roles in her community and in local government. So we have suffered a real loss to our region. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Watson, and I'll go Councillor Appleton and Braithwaite.
Thank you. Like my co-councillors, colleagues, I've had a busy month too since we did our last reports. I was really pleased to attend the annual general meeting of the Friends of Bowker Creek on May 21st, and then later, a couple weeks later, their benefit concert where Watershed, lovely name, the Watershed String Quartet played music and to fundraise on their behalf. I had a visit to the archives. I'm council liaison to the archives, and I was able to have a sit down with our archivist, Anna Sander, where she updated me on projects and activities and advised me that there is an additional number of volunteers now working in that space under her supervision, and there have been some opportunities for practicum placements for students who are working in related fields. So that's really good news about the archives and engagement and their capacity to do more of bringing records into the electronic domain for use and search. I presided over the Accessibility Advisory Committee twice. We had to have two sessions, one on June 9th and one on June the 2nd, to review the accessibility plan implementation strategy and also the proposal for the Parks Master Plan, which comes before us later this evening. I was also delighted to attend the Hallmark Heritage Awards on June 9th. That was a sold-out crowd again at Wentworth Villa. And I have to say, I left both inspired and tired. The tireless amount of work that had been done on some of the award-winning properties, not just over a year or two, but in one case over 40 years to bring it to its current state was really just phenomenal. The advisory design panel met. I attended that meeting. Also a webinar with Minister Callon, which was hosted by our Minister of State, Brittany Anderson, Minister of State for Local Governments and Rural Communities. And I also spent a delightful half-day biking around Oak Bay, looking at both project proposals, the sites that are the subject of development proposals, and recent improvements to our infrastructure and our active transportation routes. So I had a busy month. It was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watson. Go ahead, Councillor Appleton.
Thank you, Your Worship. In addition to some of the shared events that some of my colleagues had mentioned over the past month, I attended, in my role as GVPL trustee, the library board meeting on May the 26th. The library board, as with council, is in the process of receiving and starting receiving the past year's financial information and starting the new year's financial plan. So that has occupied a good amount of the board's time. Also occupying the board is the unenviable and difficult task of searching for a new chief executive officer to replace, long-standing and extremely professional CEO Maureen Sawa, who's departing here in a couple of months. So that process is well underway, and will be a challenge to well, you don't replace Maureen. We just find somebody to come and sit in the chair. So we're excited about the proposition of having somebody new come in. And in addition to that, I did this past Friday attend the CRDs as representative to the CRD Climate Action Working Group. Attended that meeting, had the opportunity to update our regional colleagues as to recent decisions and recent steps taken by council just this past week with respect to gas-powered garden equipment. So there was significant interest in that subject, and was also briefed on the CRD's advocacy for Clean BC and LG CAP grants, which are up in the air and at question at this stage of the game. So some discussion around the working group about advocacy for those critical climate-oriented types of funds. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor Appleton. Go ahead, please, Councillor Braithwaite.
Thanks so much. I won't touch on all of the events that I attended along with my colleagues, but just a couple of things. There was the first Royal McPherson Theatre Society meeting with the new chair happened, and that was she was very well accepted, and it was a great meeting. I also attended the Cool Kit program that was on a few Saturdays ago, and we had some great speakers there, and that was really lovely to see so many people attending that. I also managed to attend the Camosun College groundbreaking with some of the provincial politicians that were in attendance, and the track fundraising for the Oak Bay High School is going to start up again with a vengeance, so be on the lookout for some of the information for that. And last but not least, the Spring Nosh is this Saturday. That's put on by the BIA. So please, everyone, if you have time, go down to the corner of Oak Bay and Foul Bay, and you'll be able to participate in the Spring Nosh, which is always a great event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Braithwaite. Like I said, I'm going to just provide my update at the council meeting, so we'll move on then. As I noted in the change of agenda, we won't be doing the public input until the council meeting. Sorry, we will be for the item, but not just the general input, public participation, comment and question period. So we move then to item 6, which is now item 5 on the agenda, which is the Oak Bay Marina request for expressions of interest, respondent presentations. To kick us off, we have Ms. Bay, our Director of Strategic Initiatives. Welcome, Ms. Bay.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening. Tonight, Council and our community have an opportunity to hear from 2 groups that have expressed interest in operating the marina. I'd like to note that this evening is not a decision point for Council. Council will not provide fulsome next step directions until Council has received and reviewed the proponent's full responses to the district's request for expressions of interest. Council's not yet seen those. Council, of course, knows that, but the audience may not. So I just thought I'd say that. The presentations you'll hear tonight have not been and will not be formally evaluated. They're purely for information, both Council's and the public's. For clarity, the portion of the marina site under consideration now includes only the 2 marina sales and service buildings, along with the associated water lot. At this time, Council is not considering the future of the restaurant and coffee shop building or alternative uses of the parking lot area. The long-term use of these areas will be addressed through a community engagement process planned for after Council has selected a marina operator. So that, Your Worship, is just a super high level. I know everyone's eager to hear the actual presentations from the groups that expressed interest. So I won't use up any more of that precious time unless Council has any questions later on.
Sure. Thank you very much, Ms. Bay. So procedurally here, this is pretty straightforward. We follow a standard protocol when we have items for public input. We will take, in this case, we'll have 2 presentations, and I believe the coin flip was Oak Bay Marine Group first, and then I should make sure I get the spelling right, but Samasung, is that the best way to pronounce it? I'll let you correct me when you come up. Presentation second. So there's 2 10-minute presentations, and then at the end of the presentations, we'll invite both proponents to stick around, and we'll have a chance for opportunity for council to ask questions, just clarifying questions and pieces. As noted, this is not diving into the weeds because we obviously haven't asked for a detailed proposal at this point, but just an opportunity to ask those questions. And then at the conclusion of council's questions, we'll have an opportunity for the public to come forward and speak to us again about what's here for us today, which is the water lot lease and operations. And that's really the end of this meeting tonight. So this is a chance to kind of bring some of this information into the public realm, get some clarification. Whatever happens next, there will be a consideration of the more technical detailed proposals and against the RFEOI request. And then we'll give some direction at that point, but all of that information will be immediately risen and reported on so that the public and the proponents understand what's happening next. So with that, I think might as well just get this underway. I'd invite first up Oak Bay Marine Group, and I see Mr. Kostelski coming up. So Mr. Kostelski, process here will just be, I'll ask everybody to do the same thing. If you can just state your name and you can just give you municipality of residence or place of residence or business. And then I'll keep track of time. We're trying to keep it to 10 minutes. I'll give a little bit of flexibility, but we're trying to keep it, the intention here is not to spend a lot of time on this, but really to kind of present what you want in your to council and to the public. So with that, welcome. Are you going the wrong way? It's a backhand. There we go. Thank you. Oh, can you put the microphone on? I think it's off. Thank you,
Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, district staff, members of the public, and fellow proponents. My name is Brooke Kostelski. I'm the CEO at the Oak Bay Marine Group. And with me this evening is Mr. Graham Clark, the principal of the Graham Clark Group of companies, of which OBMG is now a part of. Thank you for the opportunity to present our response for the future operations of the Oak Bay Marina. OBMG has had the privilege of operating the marina for more than 6 decades. We recognize this is not just a marina operation. It is part of Spewhung Point, a place of deep cultural and community significance. Our approach is grounded in operational excellence, financial and environmental responsibility, and respect for our crew, community, and the ocean. The Graham Clark Group of companies has experience operating several marina-related ventures, including Harbor Cruises Marina, Cole Harbor Marina, Western Pacific Marine, which includes a fleet of ferry operations throughout British Columbia, and the Vancouver Harbor Flight Center. OBMG owns or operates 4 marinas on Vancouver Island, namely the Oak Bay Marina, Ladysmith Marina, North Saanich Marina, and Petter Bay RV Resort and Marina. And collectively, these marinas represent over 1,650 moorage slips and boathouses. The company's structure allows for clear decision-making and the ability to move forward efficiently. We have successfully managed major dock replacement projects at all of our marinas. As the current operator of Oak Bay Marina, we understand the marina's operations, infrastructure, lease context, customer base, tenants, the regulatory environment, all of which matters because this is a complex, public-facing waterfront site, not a standard private marina. Our approach is centered on being a good community partner and building a marina that our community is going to be proud of. If we have the privilege of continuing the operation of the marina, there would be no operator changeover, no loss of institutional knowledge, No need to rebuild systems, customer or tenant relationships. Our approach is very practical. We are committed to replacing the docks with modern infrastructure, and this includes light permeable decking, encapsulated flotation, steel pilings, NFPA 303 firefighting standards, septic pump-out station, and an upgraded electrical system that will support the transition to electric and hybrid recreational vessels. All of this is important because it will create a sustainable marina for decades to come. When replacing the marina's docks, we have the added benefit of having access to our other facilities to ensure continuity of service to our moorage customers. Risk management is central to our approach, and our submission, which you will soon have a copy of if you don't already, includes a full risk matrix with mitigation strategies. OBMG's environmental practices include spill prevention, crew training, waste management, recycling, and responsible maintenance practices across our entire marina portfolio. The marina currently holds a 4-anchor rating with Clean Marine BC. With the future dock replacement, we will achieve the top rating with Clean Marine BC of 5 anchors. OBMG's been involved in shoreline cleanups. We've supported sea change in transplanting eelgrass in the local area. We continue to use sea bins within our marinas and have developed partnerships with organizations that support marine health, such as Peninsula Streams. Our goal is to operate responsibly and reduce impact wherever we can. We recognize that the future operations must respect Songhees and Kusepsum Nations' interests and objectives, and we are in alignment with this. In answer to the very specific question within the RFEOI, we confirm that we are open to collaborating with the nations. We held an introductory meeting with them on May 7 of this year, and we're committed to continuing these discussions to determine how we can move forward working together. Our approach is not to define partnership on behalf of the nations. It's to create room for meaningful dialogue and collaboration, including potential business opportunities, employment pathways, cultural presence, other stewardship initiatives, and other forms of participation that align with the nation's priorities. We are aligned with the district's objectives. On First Nations partnership, we're committed to continued dialogue with Songhees and Kusepsum Nations. On sustainable financial return, we understand the district must receive market value for the lease and that Oak Bay Marina must be financially viable without public assistance. On site activation and public use, our concepts include maintaining Oak Bay Marina as an active waterfront site. It will improve the arrival experience, support marine services, add a paddle sports center, and develop public-facing uses that bring more people to the site throughout the entire year. On environmental stewardship, OBMG brings existing marina environmental programs, Clean Marine BC experience, and a willingness to build stronger stewardship initiatives into future operations. Our submission includes conceptual ideas for the future of Spewhung Point. And these ideas are opportunities that would require further community engagement, feasibility review, approvals, and partnership discussions. The first idea is to improve the upland area so it feels more welcoming, more accessible, and active. The concept, as you can see in the rendering above, features items such as an art walk, central green space, natural play area, improved gathering areas, landscaping, and opportunities for First Nations cultural presence. The goal here is to create a clearer arrival point, better circulation, stronger connections between the marina, the buildings, and the waterfront. A related idea is the revitalization of the restaurant building, including interior improvements, expanded outdoor seating. We have gone ahead and completed preliminary due diligence on the required building upgrades, and the preliminary assessment suggests that restoration is possible with a lease term that supports the investment. We have also had early discussions with a well-respected local restaurateur who has expressed interest in the space and interest in working with us. Our third idea is a sauna wellness center, and we believe this would activate the site. This could be done as a land-based facility or a barge. This would create a year-round amenity that supports public access, tourism, and possibly additional revenue to the district. Now, these ideas are included to show that OBMG is thinking about far more than just the marina operation. OBMG's objective is to structure a lease that delivers fair market value to the district while balancing the economic impact and of reinvesting in the operations and the capital-intensive asset. We recognize the district's operating parameter of having no role in funding, constructing, or maintaining any of the marina buildings or operations. Our intent is to provide a community amenity contribution, and OBMG proposes a minimum lease term of 25 years plus an option for an additional 5 years if the head lease were renewed in 2052. In closing, OBMG has the experience to rebuild and operate the marina. We will provide a smooth transition beyond 2027. We accept the district's required operating parameters. We've approached this process with a strong focus on risk management and environmental stewardship. We're committed to continued dialogue with Songhees and Kasepsum nations and exploring opportunities for partnership, cultural presence, economic participation, job creation, and stewardship. We believe that OBMG is well positioned to support the district, the nations, marina users, tenants, and the broader Oak Bay community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you. Before I go to any questions, thank you, Mr. Kostelski. We were going to invite up Chief Thomas and Kendall Farrell for your presentation. The microphone is already on. We'll just queue up their presentation. Thank you. Okay, it's showing up online as well, so that's good. So just, although I introduced you already, sort of, if you can just maybe state your name for the record, and then you can just kick off your presentation. Welcome.
Hi, Squeegel, Chief Jerome Thomas from the Kosamsa Nation, and I believe the word you were trying to pronounce earlier was the Hamasan Holdings.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Chief Jerome Thomas of the Esquimalt Nation, and joining me this evening is Kendall Farrell, General Manager of Sailors Sea RV Resort and Marina. We're here today on behalf of Hamasan Holding and partnership between Songhees and Kosamsa Nation. This proposal represents an opportunity for our nations to work together as we have successfully done before to advance Indigenous economic development on the Kwanghan territory while contributing to the long-term success of Spewhung Point. Tonight, we'd like to share a little bit about who we are, why this place matters, who we believe we can successfully operate the marina, and what this opportunity could mean for future Oak Bay and our communities. Before we begin, I'd like to briefly walk you through what we'll cover this evening. We'll start by sharing some of the history and significance of Spewhung Point and introduce Hamas Holding. Kendall then will speak to our operational experience, our proposal, and how we would ensure a smooth transition and continued success of the marina. Finally, we will return to the border vision we hold for Spewhung Point and how this opportunity aligns with both the goals of our nation and the objective of the District of Oak Bay. Spewhung Point sits within Lekwungen territories and remains a place of deep culture significant to Songhees and Kosamson Nation, known today as Turkey Head. This place has sustained our people for generations. Archaeology evidence tells us there were once a village site here, and shell middens found along the shoreline remind us that families gathered, harvest, lived from these waters over many centuries. Fish, birds, marine mammals, plants, our communities and resources from nearby islands were brought back to this place. There is also evidence of fortified trench reflecting Spewhung's importance as both a gathering place and strategic location along important marine routes. For us, this is not simply another waterfront property. It is a place of history, meaning, and responsibility. As Oak Bay considers the future of the site, we appreciate the recognition that Songhees and Kosamson Nation have an important role to play in shaping what comes next. Hamas Holding is an economic partner between Songhees and Kosamson Nation. It was created along our nation to work together in pursuit of Indigenous economic development opportunities that benefit our communities today while creating opportunities for future generations. Both nations are equal partners with governance structure that ensure accountability back to our leadership and community members. In 2017, Hamas transformed the former West Bay RV Park into Sailor Sea RV Haven and thriving Indigenous-owned waterfront destination. In 2022, we expanded into marina operations through the acquisition of 50% interest in West Bay Marina. These investments reflect in deliberate effort to build experience, capacity along long-term economic sustainability in our traditional territories.
Thanks. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Kendall Farrell, the General Manager at Sailor Seaside RV Haven and Marina. I'll be speaking about Hamas's operational experience, our proposal for Spewhung Point, and how we would approach a successful transition should we be selected to move forward. Hamas already has hands-on experience operating a mixed-use waterfront business through Sailor Seaside RV Resort and Marina. Since 2017, the nations have successfully operated a destination that combines hospitality, marine operations, and guest services under one management model. Today, Sailor Seaside includes 37 luxury RV sites, 66 marina wet slips, and we've built a strong reputation for customer service, maintenance, and year-round operations. Over the last few years, we've achieved approximately 99% occupancy during our peak season, and also increased our winter occupancy to 90%, demonstrating strength and resilience of our operations year-round. In 2025, Sailor Seaside was named one of RV Life's best of the best destinations in North America, based solely on guest reviews and engagement, demonstrating external validation of the service standards, maintenance, and operational excellence delivered by our team. Just as importantly, the business has performed very well financially. We've strengthened our reserves, reduced debt, and built strong relationships with lenders. While Spewhung Point is a larger operation, to be fair, the systems we developed around reservations, community development, pricing, and day-to-day operations provide a strong operational foundation that can be applied here. The values that guide Hamasson are the same values that have shaped the success of our existing businesses. Stewardship is central to how we operate. We believe in caring for the lands and waters entrusted to us and ensuring they're protected for future generations. Integrity means operating transparently and building trust with our partners and employees and the communities we serve. Empowerment reflects our commitment to creating opportunities for people to contribute, grow, and succeed. And perseverance reflects the determination that allows the nations to build successful businesses while remaining grounded in their cultural values. We believe that these values align closely with the District of Oak Bay's objectives around environmental stewardship, partnership, and long-term sustainability. Our proposal is designed to provide certainty while also allowing flexibility as circumstances evolve over time. We're proposing a lease that aligns with the existing provincial water lot lease through 2052, providing a fair and transparent framework supported by market valuation. We're also open to incorporating structured review points throughout the lease term. These would create opportunities for parties to assess performance, governance, and community outcomes together. If selected, Hamasson would also be interested in discussing the potential purchase of docks, provided we can reach an agreement around ownership, capital responsibilities, and overall lease structure. Ultimately, our vision is to ensure Spewhung Point remains a strong and successful marina operation while creating opportunities for cultural integration and broader community benefit over the long term. We've developed a capital structure that we believe is both realistic and responsible. Approximately 60% would come through conventional financing. Hamasson has established lending relationships and assets that support access to financing. Approximately 30% would come from internal cash generated through our existing businesses, demonstrating that we're prepared to invest meaningfully alongside our partners. The remaining 10% could potentially come from Indigenous economic development and infrastructure programs. However, it's important to note that this proposal is not dependent on grant funding. Grants represent an opportunity to strengthen the project, not a requirement moving forward. Continuity matters, and maintaining uninterrupted service will be a priority from day one. Hamasson has already managed a successful operational transition through the West Bay Marina acquisition, where services needed to continue throughout the handover process. Our approach would begin with thorough due diligence, including a review of assets, systems, staffing, vendors, and existing agreements. Throughout the transition, our focus would be on maintaining day-to-day operations, preserving continuity whenever possible, and creating and communicating clearly with customers, staff, and service providers. Once operations have stabilized, attention would shift towards thoughtful improvements, including infrastructure renewal, enhanced amenities, and the gradual integration of the Kwanghan identity throughout the site. The goal is simple: a seamless transition that preserves the reliability people expect while creating opportunities for the marina to evolve over time.
We believe this opportunity aligns closely with the goals of both our nations and the District of Oak Bay. A Lekwungen-owned and operated marina would create sustainability, economic benefits, employment opportunities, and space for cultural expression within our traditional territories. It also offers Oak Bay a meaningful partnership grounded in reconciliation, not simply through consultation, but through shared success and Indigenous ownership. Our proposal supports long-term financial sustainability through market-based lease terms, responsible operation, and reinvestment into the marina over time. It creates opportunities for broader public use, stronger community connections, and more vibrant waterfront experience. And perhaps most importantly, it brings stewardship forward as core value, ensuring the land and waters entrusted to us are cared for responsibly for generations to come. While this EOI focused specifically on marina operations, the two service buildings and the water lot, our vision of Spewhung Point extends much further. We see an opportunity to create waterfront experience where Lekwungen history and culture are visible and celebrated through art, language, storytelling, and authentic culture experiences. We see opportunities for gathering spaces, seasonal events, and programming that make this waterfront more active and welcome throughout the year. We see economic reconciliation in action, creating opportunities for indigenous business while inviting residents and visitors alike to engage meaningfully with the culture and history of this place. Ultimately, our vision is not simply to operate a marina. It is to help create a destination that reflects and significant of Spewhung Point, strengthening Oak Bay's waterfront, and leaves a legacy for generations can be proud of. Mayor and Council, thank you for the opportunity to share our proposal with you this evening. Spewhung Point has always been a place of connection to the land and water and to our people who have cared for it throughout generations. Today, you have the opportunity to consider a future that honors that history while supporting a strong and sustainable marina operation for decades to come. We believe Hamas and Holding offer a path that brings together Indigenous-owned operational readiness, stewardship, and community benefit. We respectfully ask that you continue this conversation with us as you consider the future of Spewhung Point. HGO.
Thank you very much. I'm open to options for both proponents. We're going to have a few questions, I think, from council. not in any particular order. Usually we just go around the table here and give the opportunity. So thank you very much for the presentation. You may want to just stay seated for now, unless maybe we could, if we wanted to, we could have one of each come forward and we could just answer questions to either or as we go forward. I'll leave it here. Why don't you stay there for a moment and we'll see if there's some questions for Hamasan. I'll try and get that better pronounced. So over around to members of council, do you have any questions for the proponents? Recognize we're not getting into the weeds of the proposal here. We're just based on the proposal and next steps. Councillor Patterson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the proponents for being here with us tonight.
Councillor Patterson, can I just ask you just to speak up ever so slightly, or move the microphone a little bit closer? It's just a little quiet.
Move it closer. I'm sorry.
There we go.
I thank both of the proponents for being here with us tonight and sharing their interest and their perspectives on this very important location to all of us. One of the major pieces I see in this is, of course, the docks. And the docks, while they have been maintained and are in reasonable condition, they are near the end of their useful life. And so I'm wondering if the proponents will just share with us some of their thoughts on what refurbishment or replacement of the docks how that would be handled, replacing, a large system of docks in an environmentally sensitive area. And I think that is a concern both to council and to members of the community. So if the proponents could share any thoughts that they have on that, that would be helpful.
Sure, thank you. I don't want to get too far down the weeds of the technical aspects of a changeover, so maybe since we're here really doing sort of capacity pieces, maybe just touch on your technical capacity around that. And I think we're probably quite interested, as the RFEOI noted, in replacement of the docks. And so I think a secondary question to that is that an option that you're able to do as part of taking over the lease. Over to you, Chief.
Yeah, for us, I believe that, I don't know if you guys know that we are a majority owner of Salish Sea Industrial Services. We've replaced many marinas in the past and done it with care. Everything was loaded straight onto a barge, and we replaced everything with steel piles pretty much wherever we went, unless they called for Creo. But I think for our vision, I think we'd go with the steel pilings and replace the dock sections at a time. And
Councillor Green and Watson.
Thank you, and through you, thank you very much for the presentation. And I was just curious, in 2022, you acquired 50% of the West Bay Marina. I just wondered who the owner of the other 50% was. Is that a working partnership? Thank you.
Yeah, we acquired in 2022 50% ownership of West Bay Marina, and the original owner still owns the other 50%, Mark Lundstrom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And please, Mayor, if this is beyond really what is permissible, just please stop me. But I am curious to ask Hamosan Holdings representatives here, thank you very much for coming, about that operation at Salish Sea RV Resort and Marina. With respect to any cultural programming, that's definitely a feature of your proposal that you're presenting to us about how that might be incorporated. We don't know the details of that yet. We only know, like anybody else in the room, what you presented tonight. But if you have cultural programming in your current operation, and if so, what that looks like and what your experience has been with that.
Anything you're doing now is probably helpful.
Yeah, our property, we have celebrations on like Indigenous Day, so basically the nations, the Esquimalt Nation and Songhees Nation are invited down to the property, so we have celebrations where they interact on our property. I don't know what else you want to add to that, or, I mean, really depends on the celebration, but we've had Lekwungen dancers down, so I guess, in effect, basically, the property is open to who we consider are the owners, the two nations.
Thank you. Anything else? I don't see hands in the room. Are there any questions from Councillor Appleton or Braithwaite? Councillor Braithwaite, go ahead.
Thanks so much, Mayor. I'm just wondering, and I'll ask this question to both parties. What specific? Oh no, I'm going to ask. Let's see. I have two questions. I'll ask this one first. Beyond operating successful marina, what broader public benefits are you proposing for the Oak Bay residents that we might see within the first 1 to 5 years?
I think that might be part of the more technical answer piece of it, because this is really just an expression of interest. If there's anything you want to answer, you can, but I think we're kind of waiting for some more detailed pieces if we go into that. Ms. Farrell or Chief Thomas? I do consider that to be maybe a little bit more detailed than we've asked for, so if you haven't thought through that portion of it, I'm comfortable with it.
That's okay, Mayor. I can take that question away. That's fine.
You said you had a second question?
No, I'm thinking that one might be the same, and it fall within the same category, so thank you.
Okay. Any other questions to the proponents? I'm just, I have, I think, just the one question here. Just, I'm curious about, we have two different, obviously, backgrounds and experiences and pieces coming into this. I just, maybe if you could just at a very high level, I'm not entirely clear how the Hamasang holding company fits into the broader sort of economic development of the nations. And where does it fit? Like, how does this fit into sort of the broader picture? I know there's an intention of sort of marine services and things amongst the nations. And can you maybe just give a little, very high level overview about how this all fits together and maybe what your vision is for those sort of services going over the next 25 or plus years?
Hamasin Holdings is basically a joint partnership of Songhees Nation and Esquimalt Nation. So they're 50%, 50-50 partners, which I think is unusual right now in the landscape. And as far as, you know, I guess the focus really is RV and marina management. Okay. So that's the direction that we're going in. There isn't really any other, additional sort of perspective in the sense of acquiring something else beyond that.
Okay. No, that's actually very helpful. Thank you. And I think every other question I had was already asked, so I'm going to leave it there. I think with that, thank you very much for your presentation and for answering those questions. Please stick around. What we're going to do next is invite Oak Bay Marine Group up. Probably we'll have some questions for them as well. And then we'll get to public input portion here. And following that, we'll adjourn to the council meeting. Welcome back, Mr. Kostelski. Same process here. Are there questions from members of council on to the proponents from Oak Bay Marine Group? Go ahead, Councillor Patterson.
Yes, once again, Mayor, just broad, high level of how you deal with dock replacements in a very environmentally sensitive area.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Patterson. Starts with a significant amount of pre-planning. And I'm glad you asked that, because in the 10 minutes I was allotted, I wasn't able to cover everything, but one of the things I did want to mention is that we operate a division within the Oak Bay Marine Group, that we have a division that operates out of Ladysmith that constructs docks and boat houses. And we've been doing this for decades. We do it for other marinas and private ownership as well. So we've been building docks for a very long time. have a great deal of experience in it. In fact, we've worked with Salish Sea Industrial in driving piles, and they do a great job of that. And but to answer your question specifically, careful planning in phases, obviously continuity of service is paramount. And then a lot of the aspects that I talked about in my presentation in terms of a modern dock and all the features and benefits would be included in our proposal and what we would do to replace all the docks at the marina.
Thank you. Are there other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Watson.
Yes, if I may. Thank you very much. A question about because it's something that was brand new to me, not being a boat owner, but the 4-anchor Clean Marine BC rating. Who actually who awards the 4 anchors or the 5 anchors?
Yeah, thank you. That's Clean Marine BC is the program, and that's administered by the Georgia Strait Alliance. So they have a pretty robust program where we're participate in periodic audits of the facility, everything from waste management to recycling to maintenance programs, policies and procedures. So as I say, we have a 4-anchor rating at Oak Bay Marina, and with a lot of the eco benefits that we would result from our replacing the docks would allow us to achieve that top rating of 5 anchors.
Thank you. So you beat me to my next question. Was 5 the top of the scale, or did it go to 10? No, okay. And I have one other question, and that is can you comment anywhere else within the Oak Bay Marine Group where you have cultural collaborations or operating collaborations with First Nations groups?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. For many years, we've operated with a core value of having respect for our crew, community, and the ocean. When we say community, that includes our Indigenous communities. We've worked very hard to develop relationships with several First Nations within the communities in which we operate. We have actually relationships with 2 nations in particular, very close. We've provided business plans, we've provided strategic input, advice, we've signed MOUs on joint venture projects, and Graham actually during his time as chair of YVR really was instrumental in furthering YVR's relationship with the Musqueam First Nation. So collaboration and partnerships are not foreign to us, and we are open to this and committed to continued dialogue.
Thank you. Any other questions online? Okay. I just have one general question, and it's very similar to the question I asked earlier, was just maybe a little bit of an understanding for us, because the Oak Bay Marine Group's business model has shifted over the last 15 years or so. So maybe can you just give us an overview of how the marine operations fit into your strategic, initiatives going forward, how it fits into the broader picture, where you see this, your business focusing over the next 25 years?
Yeah, maybe I'll start, and then Graham, if you want to add something. Yeah, as you said, our business has changed significantly over the past couple of decades. We started in the marina business with the Oak Bay Marina in 1962, and first grew the marina business, but we got into sport fishing resorts, and that's what many people would know of us. Over the past decade, we've gone back to our roots and really focused on our marina operations, reinvesting in all of our marinas. And it's been a great past couple of years as Graham has now acquired the Oak Bay Marine Group. So we're part of his group of companies. And it's a great fit for a number of reasons. One, because he is in marina-related ventures that I've listed many of them. Also key being 2 very prominent marinas in the Lower Mainland, Cole Harbour Marina, which is very well-known property, and Harbour Cruises Marina. So it's a natural fit, and it's been great working with Graham and looking forward to we're working on growing the Marina business throughout the entire organization. So, Graham, I don't know if you want to add anything.
I'll just add that, yes, how's that? Your worship, thank you. I learned to swim in 1952 next to the Oak Bay Boathouse. So I'm an Oak Bayer, and I love this place. And I used to paddle my kayak from Willows Beach, Sichelnath, I think it was called in the Lekwungen language. That was occupied by First Nations 2,600 years ago, when the Roman Empire was just being founded. I used to paddle my kayak out from Willows Beach. I went to Willow School too, by the way. Out to Jimmy Chicken Island, we used to call it, Mary Todd. And I used to go over the eelgrass that we see where the derelict boats are right now. And we've got some ideas that I think that we can work with. I've put together a platform which is marine, a platform. It's based with private equity, the Canada Infrastructure Bank, Pomerleau out of Montreal. And we're looking at developing opportunities in the infrastructure, marine infrastructure business, particularly early electrification, which we're doing. And we would, that's something that we would look forward to doing with First Nations, because I think there's an excellent opportunity for that. I also think that, speaking of eelgrass, where the derelict boats are right now, I would like to have, and I've done this experiment with our marina through UBC and our marinas in Vancouver, herring spawn lines. And what I would propose is that we put in, when you change the zoning on that water lot outside of the existing water lot, that we put in screw anchors so that they don't disturb the eelgrass, and that we put floats so that when the tide goes up and down, the herring spawn lines that go between them don't disturb the eelgrass. We found in Vancouver that this really works. And Lekwungen, you may know, means we smoke herring. So I think there's a potential for a great fit. I'm very receptive to that. I can think of a lot of other good ideas, but I think you've got a council meeting starting soon, so I'll let you go.
We do, thank you for that. I don't have any other questions for the proponents. Go to Councillor Smart, and then I have a couple of questions for staff before we go back to the public. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Just kind of a summary question, potentially through you, Mayor, for both applicants. I just wondered, is there a particular element of the sense of place on this site that would make you make a decision about this marina that would be different than any other marina? It's a bit of a big picture question, but just an opportunity to speak to the sense of place.
Mr. Kostelski?
I think there's just a huge opportunity to make this an active destination that we're going to visit year-round and not just for marina users. So I think if you, going into several of the things that I spoke about in our presentation, some of the ideas that I had, the key elements, that's what makes it unique. That space out there is a space where people gather. I saw it this weekend at European Cars and Coffee. There was hundreds of people down there. And none of our marina properties have a space quite like that, that special, where we're able to set up something like that. We see people walking along the site every day. You can count them. And again, that is something that we don't have at our other marinas. So when I said it's not a standard private marina, that's the truth, right? It's a public-facing waterfront site that is actively used not just by the boat owners. It's by the entire community.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Clark, and then I'll go over to the other proponents.
Your Worship, before the RFEOI came out a year ago, and I should back this up by saying that 40 years ago, and it's now the 40th anniversary of Expo 86, I was deeply involved in that. And the most successful pavilion there was the Spirit Lodge. It was famous. It was a holographic display. A year ago, long before the RFEOI came out, I reserved the name Salish Spirit Lodge, because I think that there's an opportunity to do something with AI and holographic displays that I think could make this a very interesting destination. I'm just throwing that in.
Thank you. I'm going to invite the other proponents, please, to come forward. Thank you very much. So I think, did you hear the question? Would you like to have it repeated from Councillor Smart? The question was really... Okay.
Yeah, I think one thing we would bring to the area would be my people. You would see more of a Lekwungen presence in our unceded territories. You would see more of our art and our culture, possibly our culture being practiced. Yeah, you can probably see Lekwungen dancing happening, and yeah, for it being one of our old village sites, I can definitely see more of our presence being around there, especially if we employed our membership to come be at the docks and tend to the people.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think, you know, the unique opportunity is that, you know, Hamaston is a 50-50 partnership between Esquimalt and Songhees Nation. So obviously they see this as their traditional land. So I think their unique opportunity is not that Hamaston is trying to go after marinas in BC. This opportunity presents itself, and it's a, you know, way to kind of, I guess, for the land to go back to maybe its original owners, and that we sort of build and grow on that with working with the community and, yeah, seeing where we can build and grow. So it's really just the beginning.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell. Chief Thomas, thank you very much. You can have a seat. We're going to take public comments and questions before we conclude the meeting. Before I go there, I just had two questions for staff. Just in terms of the RFEOI responses, just for clarification, I guess how are those being evaluated? There's some technical responses or things. Are those being done entirely by staff? Are we using Colliers for that? What's coming to us in the package?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, as you referenced, the district has commissioned Collier's land use strategies to support us through the RFEOI process. Colliers has taken a preliminary look at the proposal, or at the responses that we got to the RFEOIs, and will be forwarding that information in terms of their initial assessment of it to council, and then council can have a look at that and in the near future and determine next step directions.
Okay, great. And the other question I have is just if there's requests for the financial pieces that go out, any additional sort of requests or clarifications, those are really largely going to be made public as through a rise and report process or back through open council meetings. Is that my understanding?
Thank you, Your Worship. That will be up to future council to direct staff on, but that is absolutely an option for council to direct us that way.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'm going to invite Councillor Smart, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I did also have a couple of questions for staff. Through you, Mayor, I guess my first one was just a follow-up to the question you just asked around the evaluation criteria. I just wanted to clarify my understanding that the work done by Colliers in the analysis was really around the sort of completeness of the expression of interest, and that the decisions that council will be making are very much our decisions based on a governance decision, and not, this isn't a formal RFP process yet. If you could just clarify.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Bay.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I just had one further question through you, Mayor, to staff, potentially Ms. Bay. It was just with regards to looking at the potential marina lease that we're discussing here. I just wanted to clarify with staff that not yet being at the stage of putting together a lease, wouldn't necessarily prevent us from doing a more visionary project on the site that the existing marina buildings stand. A lease could potentially be written to allow for providing temporary marina facilities elsewhere in order to have a grander vision on the site one day. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Do you understand the question?
I think so. Maybe I'll just put my interpretation on in terms of what I understand the question to be.
I think the concern, if I might, is just that the sort of the cinder block buildings that are the current office space, that the intention here is that other people are responsible for those, but if we still have a visioning process to do for the upland portion, and so I guess the question is really, do we have the ability to write the lease in a way that allows us to see changes to those buildings, presuming that we can maintain the marina operations through those changes?
Thank you, Your Worship. That's totally up to council what that lease looks like, and of course up to the proponent as well. That's ultimately selected. It would be a negotiation process. The scope that we have been directed to proceed with to date has been just for the 2 marina service buildings and the water lot, and presumably whatever parking is needed to support those operations. There's been ideas shared tonight about the rest of the site. Just to be clear, that's not the direction at this point. We've invited those ideas, but that's not what's going to be subject to the lease as has been directed to date. Leases can be written in all sorts of inventive ways in terms of providing for future changes and accommodating expansions and so forth. And so, yeah, there's flexibility depending on what council's wishes are and what the proponent wishes to engage with us on.
Thank you. All right, with that, open to the public. So if anybody wishes to speak to council, this is on the RFEOI process to date or on the presentations. You're more than welcome to come forward. Yeah, please come forward, and then we'll go over here. So you have up to 3 minutes. You definitely don't have to use all 3 minutes. Yeah, sit here. But I am going to try to, just because I think there's a fair bit of public interest, I'm going to keep people to their maximum of 3 minutes. But so name, you can just demonstrate the right thing to do. Name, municipality of residence, turn on the microphone, and it's not on yet, no. The middle button, there we go.
Okay.
Name, municipality of residence, and you have up to 3 minutes. Welcome.
My name is John Minkley. I live on St. Patrick Street, and I've got the great good fortune to be able to load my kayak on wheels and walk it down to the marina and launch from that little beach between the marina and Queen Anne Park. Now that beach and the other beaches adjacent to the marina are very important resources for kayakers, stand-up paddleboard users. There's rowers that launch off the dock. A lot of human-powered marine activity takes place from the marina site and around the marina site. And it's how human-powered users access the waters beyond Oak Bay. And the waters beyond Oak Bay, it's a world-class paddling area. I mean, it's really without peril. I mean, it's in the world as a whole. It's absolutely fantastic. So I urge you, when you're looking, and the proponents, when they're presenting their more detailed submissions to outline how their plans for revitalizing the dock and rebuilding the dock will maintain the access of users other than the boat users, and ways in which they can enhance and expand access by those users to those waters. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments. Please come forward.
Mayor, Mayor and Council, my name's Michael Stevelak. I'm an Oak Bay resident for over 40 years, and I walk the Marina land property probably 5 or 6 times a week. So I'm very familiar with it. The EOI process, to my estimation, has some problems. We have a real problem right now as a district in that there's a lease that expires in 2027, and we have some potential disruption to boaters. But my concern is that in order to try and address that problem, Council is disaggregating this parcel for the first time ever. It's come up for RFPs in the past. I was part of one in the 90s. The property has always been treated holistically, and I can tell you from a developer's perspective, it makes way more sense to treat it as a whole rather than as a marina and other. So what I'm going to I'm very poor at 3 minutes, so I'll go to my finish line first. I would ask that we do some things to think outside the box, and perhaps council should think about some sort of bridge lease extension to with Oak Bay Murray Group or others to allow us the time to do this more fully and with more community engagement and to treat the property as a whole. I would ask staff to bring council a proper analysis of alternative ownership and development models, and perhaps engage a panel of prominent Oak Bay citizens with development and operating experience in both marinas, restaurant, food services, public spaces, and how we will properly acknowledge the First Nations heritage of the property. I think we have an opportunity to do this right, but I think we are potentially going to give a 25-year lease for all the wrong reasons. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. So here's the deal. Just as a course of action here, we want all opinions and be welcome here and no one to feel intimidated to have alternate opinions. So clapping seems positive, but it can be intimidating for other people. So we just want to make sure that no booing, no clapping. We'll just listen respectfully to people's ideas, and then it gives everybody an equal chance to say their piece. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Murdoch. My name is Seth Gilchrist. I'm a resident of Oak Bay. I'm really committed to the topic I came to speak about tonight. I, in fact, arranged babysitting and made special arrangements to be here. However, with the last-minute change in the agenda, I will not be able to give comment on what I actually came for tonight. So I just wanted to provide feedback that when changing the agenda at the last minute like that, please be aware that your residents have very complicated lives, and I'm going to have to go ahead and forego my ability to give public comment. So thank you.
So I will invite you, it is online, if you wish to join us online to provide comments there, you're more than welcome to do so.
I appreciate it. I've got very young children. I will be busy with them when I get home. So
do you want to take your 3 minutes now and speak to us? I'm happy to do that.
Appreciate that.
Please
yes.
go ahead.
I'm here to speak about the removal of the stop sign at Henderson and Allenby Street. The active transportation has built up the Henderson Bikeway, and I think it's a wonderful improvement to the area. However, I think that the removal of the stop sign in that particular location was perhaps done so in too much haste. There exists now no pedestrian primary access to Carnarvon Park on the western boundary of the park. You have to go a block out of the way in either direction to actually get to the park. Additionally, the idea that we want to increase the ability for traffic to be able to move through there on Henderson, as it is now a bikeway, is perhaps not facilitated by the removal of that stop sign, considering that stop signs remain at Neil and at Middown, which are both neighboring intersections, and one of them is actually on a hill. And I can tell you, when going up a hill with kids in the cargo bike, it's very hard to stop at a stop sign. So it's obviously possible to have stop signs on the bike route. Additionally, there are 24 children that I counted that live on either side of that block that cross regularly. These are children under the age of 10. The Oak Bay Police took the bike train down Allenby across that intersection. It is no longer as safe as it used to be. And finally, there are 8 new buildings or 8 new residences being built on the corner of Allenby and Henderson, which you're probably aware of. And I believe that there will be increased traffic there. And I really do sincerely believe that you should reconsider the removal of that 4-way stop as it provided a lot of safety for children going to and from the splash pad across that intersection.
Thank you. Just for confirmation, is the stop signs at Henderson and Allenby? Is that
Henderson and Allenby? That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Move next.
Mr. Mayor and Council, my name is Elizabeth Costin. I live in Oak Bay.
Welcome.
I want to just address an issue that I think needs to be addressed now in order to ensure that going forward, public participation feels safe and is as productive as possible. So it's been brought to my attention that there are those in the community who appear to want to frame this decision-making process as either pro-reconciliation or anti-reconciliation. As a result, community members have actually come to me and said that they are afraid of publicly stating their opinion about the decision-making process or about the proposals for fear of backlash, for fear of being stigmatized as either anti-reconciliation or even worse, as being racist. Now, I want to be very clear that it's my understanding that this is our community that is doing this to our community. This has nothing to do with the First Nations community at all. As a result of this, though, I am asking that Council take the lead on this and that they individually and collectively make it abundantly clear that they do not support framing the issue in this way as either pro-reconciliation or anti-reconciliation, and that they do not condone in any shape or form any attempt to stigmatize or otherwise silence people regardless of their opinion about either proposal or the decision-making process. And we need to understand that that can be subtle, and that, but if it holds people back, then this is not going to be a fair and transparent process. So I think that the lack of clear decision-making process has gotten us to this place of divisiveness in our community. And so I think the solution can be fairly simple, and that is that Council publicly state in a transparent way the objective scoring criteria that they will use to evaluate the 2 proposals, including capacity and readiness, which they have already put in the update that was recently online. And then they commit to giving the lease to the proponent that gets the highest score. This is the way to ensure that the process is fair and reasonable, that it is fair and reasonable, but also that it appears fair and reasonable. And I think that everyone in the community has the right to expect that, and especially I think that the proponents have the right to expect that they will both be judged equally and fairly, and that finally, that going forward, that Council will commit to making the process, which until now has not been transparent, fully transparent.
Thank you very much, Ms. Costin. That is our effort here. So appreciate those words. Please come forward. Same process. Name, municipality, and 3 minutes.
Yeah, my name is Kathleen Matthews, Oak Bay. As you all know, I'm a member of KOB and Robin, but I'm not speaking on behalf of either of those groups tonight. I'm speaking on behalf of the fact that I live near Spoowong, and I'm there every single day. What I'm disturbed about is 2 things, and then I won't speak for very long. But one is that nobody's mentioned the geotechnical feasibility study in terms of, I mean, it applies to the part of this EOI that's not really part of it. So I agree that it's separated. It creates, especially when you invited people to comment on, the parking lot as well as the actual lease that they're talking about. It's okay. You don't say anything. But what I'm wondering about is we do have a geotechnical feasibility study. I'm also wondering why, if the docks are in such bad shape, haven't they been addressed by the previous people with the leases or with Oak Bay? Why all of a sudden now has it become this urgency? So that would be one thing. And the other thing I want to know is, when I look at a diagram of a sauna at the edge of the parking lot, I'm there every day. Do people not realize that those waves pour over into half the parking lot? Nobody's talking about the actual physicality of the water and the way it interacts with what we call Turkey Head or Spey One. We were talking about developing something there.
So we're not at this time talking about that. Ms.
No,
Marina,
but
so just
you invited it in your thing, and I see, you know, a sauna right at the edge where the waves come crashing right over. So please, we need to take into account the actual physical reality of how that space is, interacts with the water around it, and the size of the waves and what is actually possible. It's full of water a lot of the time, and it's being crashed by waves. So I just wish we could reference a geotechnical feasibility report, the fact that it's probably not, you can't build on that because it's not stable land. It's just a bunch of rocks with some wood underneath it. So I think people need to consider all of that. And I hope that I expect you will consider all of that when you're evaluating. Thank you.
thank you. I invite the next speaker to come forward. And just for the record, I think what was being referred to there was the parking lot areas, which is made up primarily of fill. There is bedrock where the buildings are, and that's really the only portion of this that we are speaking to today. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Bronwyn Taylor, Oak Bay resident, and a member of the Oak Bay Heritage Foundation, one of the first groups to join the Reconciliation Oak Bay Network. Robin was formed in 2021 in response to the lack of public consultation regarding the future of the Oak Bay Marina land, buildings, and foreshore owned by the municipality of Oak Bay and therefore by us as taxpayers. Our message has always been that the decisions regarding the future of this valuable publicly owned property should be made collaboratively with the councils of the Songhees, Capsaicin, and Oak Bay while keeping community apprised of the progress of deliberations. By doing so, it's one of the most significant ways Oak Bay can advance reconciliation in alignment with the cultural and economic development priorities of the nations as outlined in its proposal. After all, Spewhung or Speyhung was the home of the Lekwungen peoples for millennia before settlers ever arrived on Vancouver Island. Financial viability is important, but Council's commitment to reconciliation, as per motions passed by this Council and included in the OCP, should take precedence over exclusively financial return on the property. Input from the community is essential and can only be given if residents know the direction discussions and negotiations are taking. If we don't get it right with this lease renewal, what may the next 30 years look like for this site? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Please come forward. Welcome.
Hello, Tim Taddy, Oak Bay. Thank you for this opportunity, Your Worship. I'm going to speak very briefly because there's been many good speakers before me. When the failed process of 21-22 occurred, you gave, to me anyways, I interpreted a personal commitment that there would be a wholesome, holistic review and consultation with First Nations, with the public, with Greater Victoria. And here we are up against a wall, and nothing's been done for at least 3 years. The first year I see any action is council at the end of 2024. And here we are, 2026, the lease is up, and your back's against the wall again. And it just, you have to take responsibility for this. And I agree with the speakers that are concerned about you rushing something and having criteria that are missing, no enforcement mechanisms, no performance mechanisms. How are we to trust when you let so much time as a council go by, when you gave yourself 5 years, you've let so much time go by, How are we as the public to trust that breaking this up as you're proposing will lead to the kind of promises that you all gave in 2022? I would love to see something in some more transparency. I'd love to know how much we're going to be seeing in terms of the proposals, and I urge you to take a big, deep breath and pause this process, not rush into it, because you've made promises that so far you have not kept. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Taddy. Don't see anybody else with hands up online or in person, but a couple more people to speak. Please come forward.
I'll take the left. It's more comfortable.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and it's also a real honor that Chief Thomas from Cosepson First Nation is here tonight as well. I'm Reverend Sarah Fanning. I'm the minister with Oak Bay United Church and current co-chair of Reconciliation Oak Bay Network.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Kilpatrick. I'm an Oak Bay resident, and I'm the co-chair of the Reconciliation Oak Bay Network. And we really wanted to thank Council tonight for the opportunity to address this issue. Reverend Sarah and I are going to combine our remarks, but we won't need anywhere near 6 minutes in order to cover our joint comments. The Reconciliation Oak Bay Network is a collaboration of 12 community organizations encompassing faith, environmental, community, heritage, restoration and resurgence, recreation, and arts groups in Oak Bay. Collectively, we have a community reach of more than 5,000 people. Our network firmly believes that the publicly owned lands, waters, and buildings at Spewhung represent one of our community's most significant opportunities to advance reconciliation in a way that supports the cultural, environmental stewardship, and economic development priorities of the Songhees and Cosepson nations. We live in Lekwungen territory, and if we are serious about the commitments we have made and about our role in the reconciliation that is so critical to our future as a country, the future of Spewhung must be planned jointly by the nations in whose territory it is located and by our community in accordance with the reconciliation statement Council adopted in December as part of our community's new official community plan. To quote from that plan, the very first section, as a matter of fact, guided by Council's February 14th, 2022 motion adopting UNDRIP as a framework for reconciliation, Oak Bay commits to engaging with the Songhees Nation and Cosepson Nation on matters related to land use and community planning that may be of interest to them within municipal jurisdiction and capacity. The district will seek opportunities for meaningful dialogue, collaboration, and shared understanding as we plan for the community's future, end quote. The Reconciliation Oak Bay Network, from its founding in 2021, has been firm in its belief that the planning of the future of Spewhung must begin with and be shaped by meaningful and respectful conversations with the Songhees and Cosepson nations around their potential interest in partnership, collaboration, or co-management at Spewhung.
The fact that Oak Bay Council, as our elected representatives, has in front of it tonight an indication of clear interests in the marina operations from the nations via their Hamasan holdings means that Council, on behalf of all of us as Oak Bay residents, and I'll say I'm a resident of Victoria, but work here in Oak Bay, have the ability to keep the conversation going with the nations and a specific document to work with and respond to. The district's expressions of interest document lists First Nations partnership as its first objective and states that the process is intended to support the district's objectives and the objectives of the nations for revenue generation, cultural presence, job creation, and environmental stewardship. While the financial model and financial return to the District of Oak Bay for the marina operations at Spewhung are important factors, they should not be allowed to completely override our community and our council's commitment to true reconciliation. Fair market value should mean fair market value in that context.
Finally, we urge the District of Oak Bay to employ its communications and engagement resources to help build understanding and support for this approach, and to ensure that our community is informed about what the district is doing and why, what the way forward looks like, and where and when our community will join the conversation about the future of this extraordinary site. Thank you for your time and for your consideration.
Thank you both for your comments. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to council tonight? Or to the committee, I should say. Technically, we're sitting as a committee at the moment. Please come forward. Same process, just name and municipality of residence.
Hi there. Sorry, I don't really like doing public speaking.
No, it's a weirdly intimidating place, but just name, municipality, and then you can start.
My name is Jamie. I'm owning partner at Ocean River Sports and Ocean River Adventures. We operate out of the Oak Bay Marina and downtown Victoria. We've been a partner of this community for nearly 50 years in retail, in tourism, and on the water as certified paddling instructors and guides. I want to speak tonight on behalf of the businesses that operate at this marina, not just as tenants, but as community builders. Personally, I'm coming up on 20 years in this industry. Over the last decade, that work has taken me across BC, Haida, Port Renfrew, and back here in Victoria. In every one of those places, the through line has been the same: connecting people to the water changes them. That work is also reconciliation work. Indigenous people across the coast have profound relationships with the ocean. Relationships built over thousands of years, paddling, fishing, trading, and ceremony. Adventure tourism, done with intention and respect, is one of those relationships. It can be renewed and shared. We had the privilege of bringing youth from the Pacheedaht Nation on the water in Port Renfrew. We hosted 140 paddlers on the Pacheedaht territory for the first Ocean River Paddle Symposium in 2025, sorry. Welcomed by Chief Jones. These are not footnotes to our business. They are some of the most meaningful things we've done. Culture is renewed on the water. That is true for Indigenous communities reclaiming paddling traditions, as it is for a retired Oak Bay resident discovering they're in fact a paddler. That's what we do at Oak Bay Marina. The love of water is part of why we choose to live here. Retirees look out at the harbor and wish they could have been paddlers. We decided they could be. Our 55+ program exists because we believe that, and the people who show up for it prove us right every session. We also get nearly 250 Oak Bay children on the water annually through our partnership with Oak Bay Recreation. For many of them, it's their first time in a kayak. Some of them will be paddling for the rest of their lives. This is not an incident. This is not incidental to what the marina is. It is the marina at its best. I ask council to give full consideration to the third-party operators working at this location when making decisions about its future. We are not simply businesses. We are the connective tissue between the community and the water it loves. And we are doing the slow, meaningful work, building bridges across culture, generation, and history. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Any other members of the public wish to speak to council? Sure, thank you. Please come forward. If anybody else is interested, maybe just step into the doorway so we can have some sense of how many are left. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Leanne O'Grady. I live in Victoria, but just about 4 houses outside of Oak Bay. I used to live opposite Oak Bay Marina at the corner of Curry and Beach Drive. I've come to ask you that you consider, when you deliberate on how the land is to be used, 2 things. One is I echo the comments of John Minkley. I'm also a kayaker. I've launched my kayak many times on both sides of the marina, and ask that you consider the needs of kayakers when those decisions are made. Namely, we need parking when we launch on the right side of the marina, the south side, and access on the north side. The other comment is hundreds of people walk around Turkey Head every day enjoying the view, and frankly, that's the most appealing thing about about Turkey Head is that it gives people who live blocks away from the ocean access to the water, to the beautiful views, to sitting on a bench. And I ask that you consider, when deciding what sort of structures to put there, not to interrupt the continuous path around the perimeter of Turkey Head. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anybody else wish to speak to council? Please come forward.
My name is Leona Frenette, and I'm a resident of Oak Bay.
Welcome.
Can you hear me okay?
You can. Please go ahead.
I'm here to say that I agree with almost everything that was said tonight in terms of supporting this very important initiative. As a retired public servant, I'm dismayed at the process, but we can't all live in perfect situations. I think you're hearing from the community tonight what is really important. And I have to say I'm quite impressed with both parties and their commitment to doing what is right in the sphere of their realities. I have to say I'm very disturbed to hear at Mrs. Costin's remarks that we have problems with talking about our intentions and what we should be doing with our responsibilities to our First Nations people. This cannot be tolerated in our community or any other community. And in reflecting on what I've seen tonight, and I understand these are preliminary steps, I would really like to see that whoever, whatever entity becomes a serious proponent has to include First Nations, and it's not a token First Nation, but a meaningful role in the management of whatever we do at Turkey Head, Spewan, I don't know. And I say this because this is their land. We're simply visitors here. And when I think and dream about what could happen there, the cultural exchange, and not just about, celebrations, but meaningful trips to the outer islands. Am I getting close? And also, bringing the food and festival activity that is so prevalent in First Nations culture. So when going forward, I please ask you to really consider the golden opportunity that we have here for our municipality while honoring this very special place. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burnett. Other speakers, please come forward.
Good evening. Jacques Sirois, resident of Oak Bay. Our waterfront is arguably our most valuable asset in Oak Bay, so it's worth having a serious thought about all of this. I am surprised that the package doesn't include everything. I'm very surprised by this. Everything needs help there. I see neglect at Turkey Head, and it's got enormous potential. We need to deal with the parking lot, the buildings, the marina itself, and as well the unregulated boats that are there, the unregulated moorage over the eelgrass beds. So I really would like to see the whole package taken care of while we're at it. Just want to add that, yes, we have some important and substantial beds of eelgrass in that area. It's actually quite fantastic. It's also next to the Barker Creek estuary, just next door, where we're trying to bring the salmon back. And nobody has mentioned tonight that the marina is actually in a historic migratory bird sanctuary as well, in Victoria Harbour Migratory Bird Sanctuary. So there is an interesting bird story in Oak Bay, and the marina is basically in the middle of it all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sirois. Is there any other members of the public who wish to speak to us? Don't see any, so I think what I will do at this point, is there any
bring it back to this table. There's no direction to be given tonight necessarily. I do think there's probably some, based on what we heard here today, some clarification as we go forward with other things about what exactly it is that we're going to be asking for quotes on, and perhaps some clarity about how we're going to be making some of that decision making, but not tonight. I think tonight we're just really getting this information. I really appreciate the comments from the public about what's important to you and your thoughts. So with that, I think I'm going to turn, unless there's any additional comments from members of council, I'm going to seek a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole. We're going to take a 5-minute break, let people stretch their legs. I think a lot of people here are just here for this and are going to be leaving now, and we'll continue the next meeting, which is the council meeting, special council meeting. So I have a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole.
Do you want a motion to receive the recommendation from staff?
Sure, we can have that. So why don't we do that? Have a motion to receive the report and presentation. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Before I call for adjournment, I just want to thank very much the proponents. We have groups here from both parties. Really appreciate your thoughtful, not just the presentations, but the time and detail in answering the questions. And we're really looking forward to the next steps on this. So thank you so much. With that, a motion to adjourn. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Not opposed? We'll be back here at, let's say, 7:55, and we'll start the next meeting. Thank you.